Okay. Oops. That sounds loud. Is there to make it go down? That's awfully loud.
Yeah.
Can I make it go down?
I got it.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. The Memphis Landmarks Commission is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting of September the 26th, 2024. My name is Cindy Tucker, and I'm the chair of the commission. Mr. Brett, Ragsdale, sorry, serves the executive secretary of the commission. May I get a roll call?
Ms. Boyd.
Present.
Mr. Gill.
Here.
Ms. Rainwater.
Here.
Ms. Tolbert.
Here.
Mr. Walker. Mr. Winter.
Here.
And Chair Tucker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The Memphis Landmarks Commission and the local historic district provisions are established to ensure preservation of structures that are of historic value to Memphis. Our function is to preserve significant resources, enhance community pride, and foster civic beauty and ensure compatibility within designated historic districts. The Commission is authorized to review projects and determine their appropriateness based on the design review guidelines. At this time, I would like to swear the staff in. You may remain seated. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting? Anybody? Have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Mr. Secretary, please provide us a secretary report if there is one, and then explain the procedure for this meeting.
Yes, Madam Chair. As for the Secretary's report, I would like to welcome Ms. Shelley Rainwater to the Commission. And with that, I will get into the procedures for the meeting. The procedure for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. Copies of the agenda are found on the right podium. For each case, staff with the Division of Planning and Development will give a presentation. At the conclusion of the staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present his or her case. After the applicant's presentation, the Commission will hear first from those speakers in support of the application, then from those speakers in opposition to the application. And the speakers will have 3 minutes each, and then finally the applicant will have 3 minutes to provide rebuttal. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to members of the Commission. The chair may provide additional time provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the Commission will be sworn in by the chair. If a member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a particular case on today's agenda, he or she will need to fill out a speaker's card for the record. Speaker's cards are available at the front podium. Once filled out, speaker's cards can be submitted to any DPD planner at the left podium. We do not need speaker's cards from the applicants since their names are already part of the record. After all parties have been heard, the Commission will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. All motions by this Commission will be made in the affirmative. The bylaws governing the Commission require the affirmative vote of a majority of the attending members to approve an application. The Commission may also vote to hold an application for a period of 1 month. Madam Chair, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled.
Thank you. At this point, the Commission will establish a consent agenda. To establish the consent agenda, the Secretary will call out each eligible case. If any member of the audience or the Commission objects to a case being placed on the consent agenda, he or she should do so by a show of hands when the Secretary reads the case. Once the consent agenda is established, the Commission will vote on all cases placed on the agenda as a whole and will not hold individual public hearings on each case. Mr. Secretary, which items on our agenda are eligible?
First, I would like to just note that item number 1 and 2 are being held.
Thank you.
Item number 3, COA 2024-106 at 2163 Alameda Avenue as approval with conditions. Item number 4, COA 2024-107 at 1079 Ramona Street as approval with conditions. Item number 5, COA 2024-110 at 870 North Avalon Street as approval with conditions. Item number 7, COA 2024-113 at 1665 Nelson Avenue as approval with conditions with a friendly amendment, which I will read. So the friendly amendment is to condition 2 to read, where visible from the public right-of-way, the foundation height, including the front porch, of all buildings facing Montgomery Street shall be a minimum of 18 inches above grade and indicated with exterior cement parging and or unpainted brick veneer of traditional size. And item number, did I read that for 6 or 7? Okay. Item number 8, COA 2024-117 at 1811 Foster Avenue as approval with conditions. One correction, the friendly amendment that I read on item number 6, please disregard. That was actually for number 7. So item number 7, COA 2024-116 at 272 Bellevue Boulevard as approval with conditions, with the friendly amendment that I just read, which was to condition 2, where visible from the public right-of-way, the foundation height, including the front porch of all buildings facing Montgomery Street, shall be a minimum of 18 inches above grade and indicated with exterior cement parging and or unpainted brick veneer of a traditional size. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as established by the secretary?
So moved.
Could I have a second? I would like to remind the commission that by voting on the consent agenda, he or she affirms that he or she has read the staff report and is in full agreement with the conditions. Mr. Secretary, may I get a roll call?
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Rainwater?
Yes.
Ms. Tolbert?
Yes.
Mr. Winter?
Yes.
Vice Chair Doss?
Yes.
And Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. If you are here for any of those cases just listed on the consent agenda, you have been approved. You do not need to remain at the meeting, but are welcome to stay for the remainder of the cases. Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary, at this point, I would like to state that the minor COA applications as listed on the agenda have been reviewed and approved by the Commission. The Commission will now continue with the regular hearing of the major COA applications as listed on the agenda. Mr. Secretary, please call the first case of the regular agenda.
Item number 9, COA 2024-119 at 1170 Sledge Avenue.
Okay, is the applicant present? Thank you. Are y'all both going to speak at some point?
Yeah, at some point.
Okay, I need to, right now, if you would raise your right hand, state your name and address.
My name is Iran Peña. I'm the general contractor. I reside at 4512 Quince Road, and I'm here to push the case to keep the...
Okay, wait a second. That's okay. I need to swear you in. Put your right hand back up again. Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear to tell the whole truth.
Okay, thank you. First of all, are you in agreement with the staff report? You put your hand in.
With the staff report, and that is the recommendations, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everything should be good.
Okay. Did you want to make a statement?
Yeah, so I wanted to keep the entrance where it currently is. Seems like you guys want to,
Okay, so that's a little different from what is on the staff report, correct?
Yeah, so it's my understanding they don't agree with condition number 1. If I don't want to speak for them, but that's my understanding.
Okay. So is that the only thing?
was it George?
Yes, just the garage, the entrance, the side entrance.
Okay, would y'all like to see the staff report? Okay. He's going to show us the staff report, and then we'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay, let's do
Okay.
it.
Good afternoon, Nicholas Wardrop with the Division of Planning and Development. This is item number 9 at 1170 Sledge in the Ansdell-Snowden Historic District. We're here at the northeast corner of Waldron Boulevard and Sledge. Here's a quick photo of the site. As you can see, it's a vacant lot. And here's a looking down Waldron of the existing wall. And here is a picture of the conditions of the alley that we're going to be discussing. Here's the site history. I'm not going to go all the way through it, but the major thing to note is that there's never been on this lot a purpose-built residential structure. So here is the Sanborn map. You can see this is the house that's still next door at 1176, and there was a garage for this house until 2008, and that's the only structure that has ever been on this lot. Here's their site plan. So they're proposing a new construction single-family residence and a detached garage, which has an attached pavilion. I'm going to quickly go through the elevations of both the garage and the principal structure. We don't have any concerns really with the design of the structure themselves. We're asking for one minor change, which was that the foundation material be different than the primary material. Other than that, we're okay with the design of the structures themselves. So here is the principal structure and the main Sledge Avenue facing facade. And here is the garage. You can see they're proposing a 2-car garage with an attached pavilion sort of covered area. Okay, so in our guidelines analysis, a brief summary of that is, yes, we feel that the design of the structures themselves, the facades, meet the guidelines. What we do not feel meets the guideline is their proposal to have the garage load from Waldron, which is the side street. We'd like to see it load from the alley. And the major reason for that is that most of the adjacent buildings load from the alley, and the one exception of that garage is not old. It was built between 2005 and 2008. So here are those guidelines. They're proposing a 2-story house. 2-story homes are common in the vicinity, and we feel that the home will fit in with the established rhythm, the front yard setbacks, and generally be compatible. But regarding the orientation, the guidelines do say that site orientation in new buildings could be consistent with that of adjacent buildings. Most adjacent garages do load from the alley. Okay, so regarding our rationale for condition number 1, it really boils down to 3 things which contributed to our recommendation that the garage be reoriented. One is historical precedent, the site contacts that I've already briefly discussed, and just general principles of desirable urban design. So regarding historical precedent, Ansdell-Snowden's guidelines specifically say, and you can see it highlighted here, that they recommend, I should say, that new site work be based on actual knowledge of past appearance of the property found in photographs, drawing, newspapers, and tax records. It's important to note that the period of significance for the Ansdell-Snowden guidelines is between 1906 and 1929. What you see here is from a variance application in 1943, which allowed that garage I just spoke about to be turned into a 2-bedroom apartment. And as you can see, so these from that 1943 variance application show the existing conditions of the site, and you can see it says obsolete garage doors on the back, right? So that's not definitive proof that this lot was loaded from the alley, but it's a pretty good reason to believe that during the period of significance, this lot loaded from the alley. Regardless, though, there's no real historical precedence for loading from the side street. So you can see this in yellow here. That's the driveway that is still there for the home next door. And this garage was loaded from Sledge, the main street, from at least 1938. And so here you can see an aerial photo from 1938. You can see the garage right here, and here it is highlighted. So that is the shared drive that still exists for the house next door. And it is loaded from Sledge since at least 1938. Here's the site today, and you can see the house next door still has a drive there. Additionally, when these lots were subdivided in 1951, a shared drive easement was recorded for that driveway. Additionally, when we get on the site context, the guidelines call for oriented buildings in a way consistent with adjacent buildings, and I pointed out the word adjacent. All right, so here you can see those adjacent buildings. Both of the buildings behind the subject property do have alley access, even though 1177 Central also has a driveway on Central. They both have parking pads in the rear of the property, and 1177 at least seems to still be actively used. Both of these two houses have no curb cut on Waldron and are fully alley loaded. And then the house right next door on the other side of Waldron does have a garage, but it was built in the 21st century. Okay. And then finally, just general principles of, desirable urban design. Generally speaking, we're trying to encourage urban, pedestrian-friendly built environment. Zero curb cuts are generally speaking better than one. We like to, if we're gonna have a curb cut, let's have a good reason to have it. And additionally, the UDC does allow, corner lots load from the side street, but our City of Memphis design guidelines state that lots should load from the alley when they're present. And that corner lots should load via the side street when no alleys are present. So here you can see that from the city's design guidelines. Other considerations we consider, so we recognize that having the garage be alley loaded will require the demolition of at least part of this wall and maybe the entirety of it. And this wall, it's part of this site. It has a very unique history that, I'm happy to go into, but this is not the appropriate time because it's a long story. And we'd like to see it preserved. However, it was built in the early 1990s, so it does not date back to that period of significance. So in conclusion, the general design of the structures are consistent. We have no concerns. We're asking for one minor change. We are recommending that the garage be reoriented to take access from the rear alley, pointing to historical precedent, the existing context of the site, and just general principles of pedestrian-friendly design. And finally, this site is notable for having several features which they don't date back to the period of significance, but they help tell this site's very unique story. We'd like to see these preserved to the degree possible, but saying that efforts to do that should be subordinate to both Ansdale Stone's neighborhood guidelines and general efforts to promote pedestrian-friendly design. So with that, I can take any questions.
Y'all have questions for staff? Okay.
I have a question. When were the guidelines for Ansdale Snowden Historic District established?
Oh, that is a good question.
The reason I'm asking is because you make a distinction between the garage that was built in 2005, that time frame, versus the ones that are adjacent and older. Was that garage built before the guidelines were in place?
No. So that garage was built illegally, and there was a retroactive COA.
Okay, thank you.
Granted, yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, sir? Could you step back up?
Yes, ma'am.
So you said something about a door? Is that what you said, or did I misunderstand?
No, ma'am. So we wanted to keep the existing entrance to the home that's on Waldron and just go based off of the neighbor who also has a garage right there. So we wouldn't be the only ones that have the existing entrance. He has one literally adjacent to our property, and we were just trying to match that, and it's already existing. We would just need the curb cut right there.
Okay.
But we don't want to destroy the wall that's in the back alley. It's
Okay.
completely sealed.
I'm a little confused. Do y'all understand?
That's a picture.
Okay.
That's
so-
the existing entrance right now on Waldron, and we'd like to keep it, and we'd like to cut that curb right there. And if you were able to see from our property to the other side of the street, you'd see that there's already an existing garage there.
Is that a problem?
So they would have to.
We don't know, we can't approve a curb cut, but
I could pull that permit.
Well, if you all allow it via the conditions of COA, engineering will grant them a right-of-way permit to do the curb cut work. So this is the fence that they're discussing, and there is no curb cut, right? That's the thing. My understanding is when someone was living here, they were using this and just driving over the sidewalk. That's my understanding.
But your purpose is you want that to be a driveway to come through?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
As the garage.
okay. Yeah. Yes.
And you said there was a property adjacent to it that had a curb cut on Sledge as well.
On Sledge, that's correct, which is the main
Oh, the
street, not
Waldron
this.
is the back.
Is the side street, right, it's
Okay.
corner lot.
Okay.
So what I'm pulling up now is the site plan, just to give a little more context.
Okay, go ahead. Please, sir.
I have a question for you, sir.
sir.
So your primary concern, so staff has proposed to have the driveway from the alley as opposed to the main street, and you don't like that. Can you explain your reasoning? Let me ask it this way. Aside from the wall, what is your concern about putting the access to the garage from the alley rather than the main street?
Just the design and it's just so easy to just cut the curb right there. I can pull the permit and leave like a perfect job instead of cutting the wall down, tearing it down, and doing it from there.
So it's a constructability question, not necessarily a functional question or concern?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
So that picture that was just shown with the gate that already existed, that you say you want to cut, the curb cut, that looks to be a different place than where the drive is on that site plan. So there is a note that says new opening for garage access, so you'd be cutting through the wall in that location, or you're proposing that the driveway entrance is no longer where it's shown on the site plan and it's where the gate is, that's further down.
I see what you're saying. What's your question exactly?
Those gates that are in that picture
Yes, ma'am.
on the site plan appear to be where the 3-foot walk is going to the house, right there, yeah. That's what that, but you're saying that the gate is actually further down and is really where the current driveway is shown on the site plan?
I can pull it up.
Is that what you're talking about? Is that just the walkway to the front of the house, not the garage? You're thinking of, what you're talking about is the wider one in the picture that would be going to a garage.
It would be heading to
The
the
other one
garage.
looks like
That one
just a
goes- that
person walkway.
Yeah, that 3-foot walkway goes to
The front, yeah,
and then the driveway would be further down.
correct. Isn't that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But we're just trying to clarify what you're saying, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is,
There's a smaller opening that goes to the porch or the front or the house, and then the bigger one is what he wants to do a curb cut on.
right, I understand that part, but I guess what I'm saying is the site plan makes it look like that bigger gate is where the 3-foot walk is and not where the actual drive for the garage is on the site plan.
It's just a preliminary plans, but we can change it.
I think the point is if you've got to modify the fence on Sledge, why can't you modify the fence on the alley? But you've got to modify a fence either way, right? Is that correct?
Could we?
No, that's not the
just
question I
swear
asked.
Oh, sir, is he
The
talking?
man talking from the audience.
Sir, I can't see
We're
you.
gonna have to
I couldn't
swear
see
him
that
in.
you were talking. I was looking that way. I need to have you stand up. Thanks. State your name and address.
George Kawili, 5127 Belfast Drive.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
Yes.
but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, because I was looking the other way. Okay, you can speak now.
Okay, so the owners would like to keep the existing entrance instead of destroying the back alley wall, because it just doesn't look, it's existing, so we don't want to change anything that.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have to modify the fence on Sledge to add the driveway where you're showing it?
Just maybe.
Oh, Waldron, I'm sorry.
We're just going to repair that wall there where it says beware of dog, where that thing,
The wooden part?
Yes, the wooden part, yes.
And the wooden part is where you want the driveway, you want the opening.
Yes.
But that fence is, the drive gate is going to be back near that metal fence, according to your drawings,
Right.
not by the wooden
Exactly.
fence. Is that correct?
That's just the preliminary plans, but what I'd like to show you is the way the neighbors right directly across has their entrance to their garage on the side, on Waldron.
So the issue is where this is shown, these double fence, what Ms. Tolbert is pointing out is that where this gate is, where he says he wants to put the driveway, is not where it shows on that site plan. So the point is, you're gonna have to modify a fence either way. So therefore, why not put it where the rest of the garages are in the area? Use the alley as it was intended.
Because we're kind of, the property directly across from it has his entrance from the side.
Sure, but as staff pointed out, every other property around there is accessed from the alley.
See the entrance there?
Yep, that's one out of every other one around.
Side
you.
entrance, yeah.
Yep, that's one out of all the rest.
Do y'all have any more questions so we can close it and talk amongst ourselves? So right now, we're going to close the public discussion and speak among ourselves unless there's anybody, is there anybody for or against? Okay. Okay. Thank you for the moment. May I get a motion?
To discuss?
Yep.
I move that we discuss COA 2024-119.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're going to just, you can listen, but we're talking amongst ourselves up here. Okay, anybody? Are you on?
They're going to have to alter the gate in any case, because I don't think we want a driveway coming from where that wooden gate is now. It would have to turn way into the yard, and the yard would be a concrete pad without yard. So they're going to have to change it anyway. I'd rather see them change it in the back and rear load to match the majority of the neighborhood.
I agree.
Any other discussion?
I agree with you all. I agree with planning.
Okay, then, I don't think there's are we, go ahead and vote.
Yes. Mr. Winter,
Yes.
Ms. Tolbert,
Yes.
Ms. Rainwater,
Yes.
Mr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Boyd,
Yes.
Vice Chair Doss,
Yes.
and Chair Tucker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. And you can go to staff and they can help you out. Okay, Is there another